building a house, who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. And when a flood arose, the stream broke against that house and could not shake it, because he had built it well. As was introduced, if you ever see a building under construction, and I've been following a few buildings going up in downtown Boca, the one thing that always amazes me is just how much time goes into putting those foundations into the ground. Weeks go by and you don't see much progress on the building, but they're drilling and digging deep to find bedrock to make sure the foundations for the building are going to be strong and solid. And then after spending all that time and money, they bury it. And it's always occurred to me, that's a lot of work that goes unseen. And it occurred to me that those foundations are important for a building. And I wanted to explain how those sorts of foundations are also important for the person, and how that can also be transposed into the person. When you look at the Steve standing here tonight, what do you see? Come on, I'm amongst friends, let me have it.
You're so handsome.
Thank you very much. I'll give you the money afterwards.
Okay.
You see the outer Steve. You see the image that I try to convey to the wider world. But you don't see the inner Steve, the foundations on who I am and how I'm built. And I want to explain those in a bit more detail. You have in those foundations what I consider certain important aspects. The first one is to be the real you. I see so many people trying to be someone other than who they really are. And I think it's important that you try to be the real you, warts and all. Because if you are trying to be the real you, you can try to be the better you. You can try to improve the person that you are. If you're trying to be a different person to the real you, it's very difficult to make those improvements. So the first thing that I believe has to go into those foundations is to learn to be the real you. And then to have certain core values. And in my life, I've tried to build those foundations on 6 core values. The first one is truth. Truth to yourself and truth to those people around you. Honesty. Some of you might say, well, truth and honesty sounds the same. But honesty is the outgoing part of you. Honest to your word, if you like. Honest to the way that you try to portray yourself. A reliability. When you say you're going to do something, try to achieve it at all costs. Reliability and the expectation from those people around you that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't for any reason, you explain and you make sure that they know. And then knowledge. Giving that knowledge to the people around you is as important as anything. One of the things that I love about Toastmasters is that it builds the knowledge on an ongoing basis. One of the things that amazes me is that we've got members in clubs, this club and others that I'm a member of, that have been in the clubs for 20 plus years. They come to virtually every meeting, and I know from speaking to them that they get something out of every meeting. They have a thirst for improving that knowledge. And then sincerity, being sincere in what you say to people, not giving false feedback or false compliments, but being genuine and sincere in what you say. And listening. One of the biggest skills that I've learned in the last 4 or 5 years since joining Toastmasters is to listen. And I'll elaborate on that a bit more. And probably one of the biggest foundations is the power of forgiveness. None of us are perfect, and quite often we make mistakes. Learn how to forgive yourself and learn from those mistakes. And in the same way, forgive others when they err on you, and learn from those mistakes as well. The power of forgiveness is one of the biggest parts of my foundation that I've learned in the last 10 years. Never stop learning. As I said earlier, knowledge is a key. Doesn't matter how old you get and how much experience you think you have of life, always, always want to expand that knowledge. And listening. I think one of the biggest skills I've learned in the last 3 years is to listen. How often do we really listen? How often do we cut out that noise and that self-imposed block and really listen to what the other person says to us? I suggest that if we really do that, it can have the biggest impact of anything. It's one of the biggest parts of the new foundations that I've put into my life. And finally, look after your body and spirit. Try to look after your body and try and look after your mind. Because if you do that, then that foundation will become unshakable. So according to Corinthians 3:10, according to the grace of God which was given to me, like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation and another building is on it. And each man must be careful how he builds upon it. Madam Toastmaster.